So I hope you can see it now. Yeah, so our vet schools and chapters, we have 5 vet schools in Germany. We have ISU Berlin, we have Leipzig, Munich, Gießen, and Hanover. So as you can see, we are basically all over Germany. ISA Germany actually is an organization that brings them all together. We decided to bring them all together even before ISA Global decided to bring them all together, basically under the national MOs. We have our own structure with EO, president, treasurer, and basically all the others like ISA Global as well. We try to unite all the members so we can help each other basically make all the chapters better. And I mean, we also chat a lot about studying and how it's different in our chapters in vet schools and everything. We try to participate in the global activities, symposium and congresses, of course. And we do have online meetings once a month, and usually a live meeting per year. I say usually because we know that's not going to happen really soon. So I just wanted to present you or give you a bit of facts about each chapter. It's really like it's small facts. And because I'm not studying in each of them, of course, I know my chapter better as all of them. So we start with ISA Berlin. Everybody knows Berlin. So it's the capital of Germany. It's located, so the faculty is located in Steglitz, which is quite far away from the city center, really far away for my experience. The faculty belongs to the Free University, so Freie Universität Berlin. Of course, you know, Berlin has a lot of history. And I would say, in my experience, Berlin is probably the least typical German city, but there's nothing you can't find there of culture and everything else. Then there's Hanover. So the faculty belongs, actually, the faculty is its own university, which is pretty cool. It's also the oldest veterinary faculty in Germany. And it also calls itself one of the greenest cities of Germany. Then there's ISA Leipzig. It's one of the smaller faculties. There are 120 students graduating per year, approximately. And Leipzig is probably a more alternative and creative city. It's known for its vibrant party city life, and also it has a lot of parks. I mean, in general, German cities have a lot of parks. Then there's Gießen. Gießen is actually a really small city. It also only has 88,000 inhabitants, but if you see, 39,000 of them are actually students. So it's called a student city. And it's the 3rd biggest vet faculty in Germany. And of course, there's Munich. I study in Munich, so I know Munich the best. It belongs to the Ludwig Maximilian University. And most of the faculties are actually separated. If there are parts in the city center, they also have parts outside of the city, just because of farms and stuff like that. And Munich specifically has 2 campuses. And it's the 3rd biggest city in Germany, and we all know it from the famous Oktoberfest. So yeah, I mean, for me personally, it was really hard to pin down German culture because it's so different depending on where you are in Germany. I mean, you all know the cliches, beer, Bratwurst, Dirndl, and Lederhosen, but that's basically all Bavaria, or pinned down mostly in Bavaria, which is where Munich is the capital from. And I mean, beer is all over Germany, that's for sure, and Bratwurst as well, but all the Oktoberfest cliches is all Bavaria. And just to count on some facts, there's, for example, Carnival, which is also really big in Germany, but more in the west of Germany. There's no Carnival in the north, for example. It's usually celebrated in February. Germany is also a huge festival and concert scene. And which is a very small fun fact for you, Germans also love to go to Mallorca, which is a Spanish island, for vacation. To tell you a bit about the vet schools, in Germany, it's not really easy to get into vet school. You need a good A-level grade. It's not as bad as human medicine, but yeah, it's not easy, I would say. In general, university in Germany is almost free of charge. You only have to pay a small amount for like admission and administrative stuff. It takes 5.5 years for us to graduate. We have our own system, which sucks a lot, especially in the sense of internationality. The system is called Staatsexamen, which it's basically bachelor and master degree in one. Most vet schools in Germany do have a clinical year in which you already have to specialize yourself. So that means that you choose a specific clinic in which you specialize. And most clinics offer PhD internships and residency. That's more for you guys to know. And for the typical veterinary careers in Germany, I would say that's probably the same as in the US, but I mean, you can tell me otherwise. First thing, of course, is to practice or work in a clinic, which is a huge part, but the same as industry. So a lot of vets work in pharmaceutical firms or in animal food production, the same as, for example, like any laboratories with animal testing. We do have official veterinary work. So every city or major region has its own department for animal welfare, where they do control farms, and also you can call out some people who maybe never go out with a dog, for example, and they go out and look if everything's right. Then also food hygiene is part of these departments usually, as well as like slaughterhouse work and stuff like that. Of course, you can work in a university, obviously, and other research facilities, or as well as insurances. So, I mean, animal insurances, but as well as insurances for vets as well. So yeah, I mean, if you want to learn more about us, these are our handles, these are our, yeah, mail accounts and stuff like that. We do have our own website, so that's nice. And yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for presenting to us. And also, before I get started, if you guys would want to go around and introduce yourselves individually as well, I think it would be nice to have some names to faces and everything, and then I can start our presentation. And it's going to be like kind of multi-pronged. I didn't consolidate our presentation, so you'll have to forgive me if it's a little scattered today, but if you're willing to introduce yourselves, I would really appreciate that. And we can also do that as well for the students that are here.
Sure. I mean, all the Germans can present themselves if they want to. Matthias, you want to start?
Hello, my name is Matthias. I'm studying in Munich as well, and I'm the president from our chapter in Munich. So I'm in my 4th year now, and yeah, I have a dog whose name is Myrtle and a cat whose name is Hummel. And I'm interested in small animal medicine, especially in neurology. And yeah, that's all about me. Maybe Philippe can go on.
All right. I'm Philippe. I'm a 4th year student together with Matthias. I'm a student in Munich as well. I'm currently a vice president of IVSA Germany, and I'm actually not, I haven't set my target yet for what I want to become later in life as a vet. I really like small animals medicine because of all the possibilities that you have in this sector. But I also really like the public health sector. So I see myself as well, maybe later on in this particular domain, I'd say. And yes, what else can I say? Well, I'm 22 years old. And yeah, anything else? I think that's it. Who's next? Let me check. I need to pick some. Anna Friedrich from Hanover.
Yeah, well, you lifted a secret. My name is Anna and I study in Hanover. I used to be president in Hanover and I used to be president of IVSA Germany, and now I'm chapter coordinator of IVSA Germany, which is basically like the MOD of IVSA Global. And yeah, well, I'm in 4th year now, and I'm pretty sure that I don't want to be a practical vet, so I don't want to work in a clinic or yeah, stuff like that. I'm interested in animal welfare and mental health in veterinarians especially. So I don't know, I will somehow include those topics. I don't know how yet, but yeah, so that's for me, I guess. I don't know what I can tell else, but yeah, it's nice to meet you.
You too. And mental health is something that we're working on at Iowa State as well. So if you have any ideas of how to make veterinary school more accommodating to those things, I would love to hear them.
That's cool. We can keep in touch, really. So because I just finished an additional education and I'm working at the university itself now, but I mean, the university is very, yeah, just a small part, and there's so much more to do, especially in, yeah, all the veterinarian mental health. So very cool. Well, Alina, you can continue.
Yeah, hello. My name is Alina. I'm also studying in Hanover with Anna, but I'm in the 3rd year currently, so I'm not as far as her, but yeah, still. I'm not sure what I'm going to do when I'm done with vet school, but yeah, I'd like to go and work in a clinic as well, like Anna said, because I think that's really good work, and we have some chances at our university to have like a little view into the clinical life, because we can go there and work with the clinical stuff like as many times as we would like. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, Anna mentioned it. We have like some programs from IVSA Hanover where we care about mental health. And for example, Anna and another girl from the chapter in Hanover, they're doing like a meditation on Mondays. So if you're interested in, it's really cool and it's really nice. It's each Monday morning, and it's really nice. I never done meditation before, but now I really enjoy it, and I can definitely recommend it to you. So if someone of you like to join, you should text Anna and ask her if that's possible. Yeah, that's fun.
In general, it's possible, but it's in German, so we just we didn't manage to form meditations in English right now. So well, then would be a goal for the future, but currently it's in German.
Same as time difference, I imagine, 7 in the morning.
Yeah, maybe it's like for them it's like more like an evening meditation. For us, it's a morning meditation. I don't know what the time difference is, but yeah, could be nice. So yeah, right. So next, I'm not sure who's next actually. I can't really see a list. Maybe Tina, you can go on.
Yes. Hi, I'm Tina. I'm also studying in Hanover together with Alina. I'm in my 3rd year, 22 years old. And yeah, I haven't quite figured out my preferences and what I want to do after vet school. So still got plenty of time to figure that out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm president in Hanover, and yeah, part of the IVSA here right from the start. So big fan of IVSA. I don't know what else to tell about me. So I think Kemal and Marika are still left.
Yeah.
from Germany. So maybe one of you
I'm the
want to
rest.
present yourself.
Okay. So hello guys, my name is Kemal. I'm studying in Munich. I'm currently in my second year, but I am an international student from Indonesia. What I am planning to do after vet school is being a wildlife veterinarian because it's kind of a childhood dream of me. So yeah, that's all I can say.
Okay, so I guess it's me next. I'm also studying in Hannover. I'm in 4th year, and yeah, just as many others, I haven't decided yet in which direction I want to go into, but I think it's going to be something practical. Yeah, sorry for eating because I haven't had dinner yet, so I gotta eat. Yeah, and I am not a very active member in IVSA yet because I've been studying abroad, and that's why I've been gone. But I did an exchange in my first year, and it was really nice. And yeah, that's why I'm really interested in staying in the IVSA and just seeing what's going on. And I'm always interested in other cultures and how vets are doing in other countries. So that's why I'm here.
So yeah, there's one girl missing, Valerie.
Yeah, hey, I'm Valerie. I study in Munich. I'm currently in my 4th year, but I haven't decided yet what I want to do, if I want to work with small animals. We will see. And yeah, I joined IVSA this year, so I'm kind of new to everything, but yeah, I'm excited. So. I don't know, is there somebody else?
No, I think that's
Okay.
everybody from our side.
It looks like
Perfect.
Oh no, but Elisa.
Yeah, hey, sorry. Yes. Hey, I'm Elisa. I'm also studying in Hanover, and I'm in my 4th year now. And I think I want to work later in the lab. So now I'm quite interested in microbiology because I studied biology before, and now sometimes I'm working in a microbiology lab of human medicine. So I'm quite interested of the of the connection between human medicine and veterinary medicine, especially now. I think it's a big topic. And yeah, so I try to do some internships in this direction, but I also just recently joined the IVSA. So I hope I can do something international in this direction, and yeah.
I'll go after you, Elisa. It's a perfect transition because I have the same interests, so I can just refer to yours. I decided that I don't want to do clinical medicine as well, so I'm interested in microbiology or infectious diseases. I'm in my 2nd year, and I am the outgoing IVSA officer for our chapter. And to clarify a little bit about how our chapter works, so every school in the US that is a vet school has an IVSA chapter, but we're all kind of housed underneath IVSA SAVMA or SAVMA, and that would just be the student chapter of the American Veterinary Medical Association. So it's a bit confusing, but we don't have as many students here because our chapter is so small. It is only the school that we're at, so we're excited to have anyone join our meetings. But we really appreciate all of you coming and exchanging our culture with us, and we are happy to have learned from you and are excited to share more. So I will pass it to Jamila if you want to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, my name is Jamila Kelly. I am a 2nd year with Clara at Iowa State. I am actually not from Iowa originally. I am from Georgia, so the southeast part of the United States, like right above Florida. So I'm like 4 hours from Disney World, so that's pretty fun. I am really interested in pursuing neurology actually, so that's really cool. And I also have a cat named Socks. He's pretty great. And I have a huge passion for exotic animals, so birds, reptiles, amphibians, small mammals, anything like that. So, and I guess I can pick who to pass it on. I'll pass it on to Kristen and Kiala because they're also second years with me. So.
You first.
Hello. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm a second year here at Iowa State, and I'm from Hawaii, so kind of far away. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Kiala. I'm also a second year from Hawaii. Planning to go into mixed animal medicine. So a little bit of livestock and a little bit of cats and dogs. Taylor.
I'm Taylor Summercourt. I'm another second year. I'm planning on doing primarily large animal and some theriogenology because I have an interest in reproduction. I guess, side note, I've got 2 horses and I have a crazy dog because I decided that I wanted a Belgian Malinois. So, yup. I guess, I don't know if Riley's here or not.
Yeah, I am here. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, sorry, everyone nodded. I don't know if you can see.
Okay, I couldn't tell if those were nods. So yeah, I am the incoming leader of the IVSA chapter here at Iowa State. I'm a current 3rd year. I'm from Nebraska, which is the state that's right next door to Iowa, and I'm one of kind of a group of Nebraska students who come here to Iowa just because we don't have our own veterinary school in Nebraska, so we kind of partner up with Iowa. I think there is at least one more here on this call too. So this is my first year actually at Iowa State. We spend our first couple of years in Nebraska. And then we come over here for the next 2 years to finish up our studies. Just we don't have like the clinical space or the hospital that they have here at Iowa State that kind of allows us to get a more hands-on activity in some of the specialties like cardiology and stuff. And I am currently interested in wildlife and zoo medicine. So yeah. And I do not have any pets at the moment, but hopefully that will change sometime in the future.
Brett, if you want to go next.
Sure. So my name is Brett. I'm also a 3rd year here at Iowa State. I'm the other student that Riley mentioned. I also came from Nebraska, did the first 2 years there, and now finish up last 2 years here at Iowa State. I'm currently planning to go into small animal medicine to do general practice for dogs and cats. Kind of open to other stuff, but primarily just want to focus on dogs and cats, just kind of general practice. Might specialize later down the line, but that's kind of just my plan right now, is just to do general practice. So.
And then I think our last person to introduce themselves is Katie. Katie, are you available? Oh, there you are.
I am. Sorry, I'm feeding the kids, so I didn't think you wanted to see that. So I'm Katie. I'm currently in Nebraska, and then I'll be going to Iowa next year for the next 2 years. I am extremely non-traditional. I have 2 young children, married, I'm married military. So we have 2 dogs, a cat, and a bearded dragon. I'm interested in research medicine, emergency medicine, and exotic medicine.
Perfect. And I think that wraps up our introductions for everyone. Also, if any of our Iowa State students have questions for IVSA Germany, I'll ask that you either ask those now as I'm getting our presentation put up, or in the chat while I'm going.
I did have one. I was wondering how many exotic animal clinics that exist in Germany near, say, Frankfurt or Munich?
To be honest, like every university has its own exotic clinic, basically. So all the 5 vet schools have one, and then there are more small practices who actually specialize on exotic animals. I personally, I love exotic animals. I want to specialize in it as well. So for example, close to Munich is one really famous one. But yeah, it's a bit harder to find. But I would say university clinics, especially, yeah, they do all have one.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, nice to meet you all, by the way, now that we all know each other more or less.
Yeah, same to you. It's so nice to see so many people from all around your country coming to join, so thank you. And
Yeah.
I'm going to keep my video off during the presentation just so to spare you watching me give this. I also have it on 2 monitors, so I'll get confused on where I'm supposed to be looking, but I'm going to pull that up right now and we can get started. Perfect. Okay. So welcome virtually to Iowa State University. Like I said earlier, we are just a college within the US and we're located within Iowa. So Jamila already introduced herself, but she actually serves as one of our IVSA class representatives. So this is a little slide about her and her email if you're interested in getting into contact with her. She's going to be our VM2 representative. And then this is Riley. She introduced herself as well earlier, but her camera doesn't work. So here's a photo of her so that you have a face to a name. And also her email is there if you have any interest in contacting her as well. So the state of Iowa is highlighted in red right there. Not a lot of people who are not from the United States, and honestly, a lot of people from within the United States don't know exactly where Iowa is. It's called one of the flyover states in quotes. So one of the states that is very heavily focused on agriculture and kind of gets missed. We don't have a lot of large cities. But as you can read on the slide, our climate is pretty humid and we have very large extremes of heat and cold. So we have -28 to up to 38 degrees centigrade. And we have a population of around 3 million. And also we have a great deal of land. And some of our fun facts are that we did invent sliced bread, although I'm sure other people figured that out before we did, but we did invent the machine that slices bread. And we also have more hogs in the state than we do people. And we are home to the ice cream capital of the world. Very important things to be proud of. So on the top left, that is a photo of the capital of Iowa, that's Des Moines. And it's about 20 minutes away from our campus. So a quick trip to the city is always nice on a weekend. And the pictures of the farmland that you see, that's very typical for driving through the countryside. Honestly, most of Iowa is countryside. So if you are interested in agriculture, crops, or large animals, it is a great place to come and practice. And in the bottom, you can see a picture of one of our hog owners with his, I guess, hog barn. So Iowa State University is located in Ames, and like I said, it's about 30 minutes from the capital. We have an enrollment of 34,000 plus and 6,000 faculty and staff members. And we have 8 colleges at the university, which is, I feel, a good deal, and the veterinary college is one of those. We're ranked among the nation's most beautiful, which is coming as a bit of a surprise as we have so much agricultural land surrounding us, but we are known worldwide for science and agricultural studies and also technology. And more fun facts is that we've invented the Rice Krispie treat, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but it's a combination of cereal and marshmallows and butter. And we also have 2 swans, and they come back to our campus every single year, and their names are Lancelot and Elaine. So here are some photos of our university. The top left is a typical scene in wintertime. We get a lot of snow, so that's what our campus usually looks like before everyone has a chance to build snowmen. And on the top right, that is a photo of one of our football games. We are very sports centric, and during a normal year, we would have lots of football games and basketball games to attend. And they're a great way to have fun and kind of get together with friends. And the bottom left photo is a photo of our library. I just thought it was a nice, pretty picture. And then also a photo of fall as well. We get the really nice leaf changes. So I'll see if this works for you. I hope it does, but it's a quick campus tour.
What's up, Cyclone Nation? It's David Montgomery here. I'm Chase Allen, and today we're going to check out a tour campus. So let's go. Welcome to Hilton Coliseum, home of Hilton Magic.
Hilton Magic, baby. It's awesome, baby, with a capital I.
Here we go. I've seen this before. I'm never surprised in this place.
This is Hickson, the center of our academics, where we do our mentoring, our tutoring, and our extra studying. This is the hub where you get your grub on. And this is the library where you get your study on. And this is Central Campus. This side of campus is our engineering college. And this is where we live.
So I won't make you sit through any more of that, but that actually was produced by our athletics department, if you couldn't tell by the athletes that were presenting. So that was, I thought it had some nice graphics of the university, so that's why I used it, but my apologies for a little over exuberant presentation there. But so some of the Iowa State and Iowa traditions are kind of out there, and for people who are not familiar, they might seem strange. So in the top left, we have a photo of one of our best traditions, which is it comes during our homecoming period, which is in the fall. And students will be painted head to toe in our school colors, and we dance and do skits, and it's a part of celebrating our, I guess, our traditions at our university. And you can see the man in the very front of the photo is dressed up like the clock tower that's behind him. And then I'm sure you're wondering what the cow is in the photo on the right. That's actually made of pure butter, and it's a tradition for the Iowa State Fair. So we have an agricultural fair every year, and it's a tradition that someone carves sculptures out of butter and we display them. I can't give you the origins of why that happens, but it's very well loved, and people come from all over the US to come see our butter cow. And I have photos with it as well. I won't include those. But I also put in a picture of our marching band there, which is something kind of typical for US sports. And then also a photo on the bottom left of our agricultural fair because it has a lot of fried food. And the black and white photo is a tradition of kissing underneath the campanile or the clock tower. And that has been a tradition at Iowa State for a very long time. So specifically, the College of Vet Med has about 150 students per class, which is very large. We have a class, for the class of 2024 specifically, we're about 20% men and 80% women, and our mean age is 24 years. So we have a nice range of traditional and non-traditional students, and we go all the way up to 46 years of age. We had 23 students come in the newest class with no degree at all, and most of them came with a bachelor's, and 5 already had their master's degree. I know one student in my class already had a doctorate. So also, we just want to highlight that we are a very homogenous society in Iowa. We're very white. as far as ethnicity and race is concerned. So we have been working really hard to include more diverse populations into our school, and that is a graph showing how many students we are admitting per year that are from underrepresented groups. So here are some photos of the College of Veterinary Medicine itself. We have the clinical skills lab pictured there, and then also our small and large animal hospitals. And this is a virtual tour, and it's going to walk you through years 1 through 4 of veterinary school.
Iowa State University is proud of our heritage as the country's first public veterinary school, but we're also proud to have had a global impact on not only animal health, but human health and food safety. Veterinary studies, like any medical degree, is not an easy road. There will be hours and hours of hard work and study, but at the end of the day, you will be one of the best well-trained veterinarians in the nation. And you won't make your journey alone, as you will be assisted every step of the way by our world-class faculty and understanding classmates. In year 1, you take basic science courses and you are paired with a second-year mentoring student.
Your first year, most of the classes are learning about what is normal in animals. So first semester specifically focuses on small animals, whereas second semester is more so large animals. So having a mentor that is a second year now is really helpful because they just recently got done with exactly what you're going through, and they can offer advice on like, hey, what's the best way to study for this anatomy exam? Or what did you find was the best way to learn histology and that sort of thing. No matter what and how much you prepare, it's going to be quite the adjustment because you're just getting so much information thrown at you. But your professors are super, super, super helpful, and you have like 120 other students that are in the same boat with you, and you're all trying to get through the same thing. So it's really nice because you can form study groups and you can study with other people. We spend a lot of time in the anatomy lab. Yeah, that's pretty much where I spend all my time actually.
Year 2, your coursework focuses on more specific veterinary medicine subjects, and your surgery training begins.
So you're learning suture patterns, you're learning how to hold the instruments, and now you're applying that to treatments that clinicians will do every day. We also go down the clinical skills lab a little bit, as much as we can. First year you did a little more because it was kind of new and you had the time to do it. Beyond that, you get your hands-on experience in labs, and second year labs are a lot more microscope based, so you're taking your microbiology, so you're growing things on a petri dish and then looking at those, as well as your parasitology, where maybe you're doing a fecal float and looking at it under a microscope or other things like that.
In your third year, instruction focuses on small and large animals, and you have surgery lab courses.
So our classes are a little bit different our third year of vet school. Basically, the way that I can explain it the best is first year we learn everything that's normal, second year we learn everything that's abnormal, and then third year we're putting it all together and learning the clinical aspects of all of the things that we've learned so far. And so far it's made a lot more sense than the first 2 years did, because it actually, you can see the process of what you're learning.
So there's a lab that you do before you begin any sort of surgery that kind of gets you the basics of intubating and doing blood draws and catheterization and basic anesthesia work. There's spay models down there and various knot tying labs that we've had to show that we know how to do those basic skills before going in there and actually doing it on a live patient.
We just have more freedom, and I feel like I know a lot more than I did in the first 2 years, and I feel a lot more comfortable answering questions about things that I get inside school and then outside school as well.
In your fourth and final year, you participate in clinical rotations at our small and large animal hospitals.
During our fourth year, how I explained it to my parents is I'm getting a new job every 2 weeks. And so that means that every day I come into the small animal hospital or the large animal hospital,
depending on which rotation I'm on, and I see patients.
And really get to see what it's like, get hands-on experience. And I've had the opportunity to ride with several veterinarians, and it's incredible how much different it is now as a fourth year, that now I know some things that I'm more than just a shoot guy who can just catch calves as they're coming through.
The first 3 years were a lot of book work, learning the basic science, diving into those, so then when you come to your fourth year, you can apply that to a living, breathing patient.
Fourth year is challenging in that you're expected to actually bring your knowledge from the first 3 years into this and be able to explain it.
I've been in school almost my whole entire life, and now my goal is coming to the end, and I'm very excited to see what this next chapter in my life will bring and do what I love.
So again, a promotional video for Iowa State. So if you're not convinced of coming to join us, then I don't know what else more I can say or do. But so that was a longer video, so I'm sorry if you were not wanting to watch the whole thing, but I thought that it really nicely captured how each year is set up, and also some of the features of our school and how it looks and how our classrooms are set up and everything like that. So hopefully that was educational. And we also have a slide for if you were to come to the US and come to Iowa and exchange with us, where we would take you. So one of our state parks in Iowa is called Ledges State Park, and that's pictured at the top left. That's probably the most beautiful time of year to see it, is in the fall. And on the top right, we have a downtown photo of our city. It's a very young city and very growing, so we have a lot of nightlife and a lot of young students who either are students or are working for the first time living in that city as well. And then we also have some really nice gardens, both here and in Ames and in Des Moines. And then on the bottom right, that's a photo of our Iowa State Fair. So we have lots of the carnival rides and games that are typical for those events as well. And that's very popular in the summer. So we do have a couple of questions for you. What your facilities, how they are set up, how the exams work. Sometimes we have exams in blocks, and sometimes we have exams that are just kind of randomly scheduled. So that would be interesting to learn about. And also how vet school has changed during the pandemic. The demographics, I know that I mentioned that our school is primarily women, so I think we were curious if yours is as well. And I think we already answered if the school admits students from other countries, since we have some international students. And then you also answered the question that we had about bachelor's versus master's, because you have a 5-year program. And then also we were going to ask, is school affordable? And I think you might already know that ours is not. So we like to ask all the students that we meet with how much their vet school costs, just so that we can feel even worse about how expensive ours is. So thank you so much for paying attention, guys. That is all I have for you. But if you are interested in getting into contact with us or exchanging with us at some point in the future, that is an email that you can contact us with.
I mean, if you want, we can try to answer the questions. But I actually didn't introduce the person sitting next to me. I'm really sorry. That's my boyfriend.
Hi, my name is Leon. I am a mechanical engineer student in Saarbrücken, which is quite near from our home. And I am in the 2nd year now. I studied renewable energies for 3 years until I realized that electrical engineering is absolutely not my job, and I don't want to do it. And yeah, now I'm sitting here listening to you guys, and I have a dog, so I think that's the only thing I can like bring into this conversation.
And he also loves butter. So your butter sculpture, perfect.
I'm glad we could cater to someone. It's a very obscure tradition that we have, and I love telling people from other countries because I think that it helps us fulfill the American stereotype completely. So I hope that works. But
Yeah, so the only question I remember right now is how much our vet school costs. It almost costs nothing. All the universities, there are private universities in Germany, but it's not really common. I don't know many people who studied in a private university, so you only have to pay like administration. So it's around, I would say, depending on your university, of course, between 100 and 250 euros per semester. That's the only thing we have to pay. But I mean, as I saw your video right now, the money you pay goes into something. So your appliances and the stuff you work with is a lot newer than ours, at least at the university in Munich. So it all has its reason, of course. But yeah. So I don't know what else of the questions. Maybe somebody else can answer them as well if they want to.
I would like to add that in Hanover, it's actually more expensive than in Munich. I just paid my fee and it was like 430 bucks or euros. So it's a bit more than in Munich, and I feel like it's a bit unfair because I don't get the difference. But still, compared to America, of course, it's almost nothing.
But I think it's that expensive for us because we have this bus ticket stuff including in it. So I think that's 250 euros only for the bus ticket. And so it might be around 200 as well for us for the administration fee. So yeah, so it might be the same.
So the Munich people don't have a Bavaria ticket? Like for the trains and stuff? They don't have it?
There is a special ticket you can buy to also take the train from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that's also another 200 euros. And you must not forget that the rent in Munich is at least 3 times higher than in Hanover. So, yeah.
That might be one of the only perks to, not one of the only, but it is one of the perks to going to school in Iowa. Our cost of living here, because we are in the middle of the US and not a lot of people are flocking to Iowa to come live. We have lots of land, so it's very cheap to live here. Rent is fairly cheap and food is very, very cheap because we are surrounded by cropland. So that's at least a benefit.
Yeah, well, Laura already pointed out to your video, and I really liked it. It was amazing to get some, a better view of where you live and where you study. And I had to laugh all the time because you in the US, you're so much better with everything online and presenting yourselves. Because this Monday we had a meeting of IVSA Germany, and we just. Well, so I can only speak for the University of Hanover, but we spoke for all our faculties in Germany that it seems to be like we are stuck back in, I don't know, 1950s or something. So there's a lot of stuff that is so, well, it's very hard for I don't know why it's hard for German universities, or especially for German veterinary universities, to present themselves online or to in general to present themselves. So we just, our universities would never do videos like that or anything else. And was like, the one question you asked was how our university life changed due to Corona. And well, how the pandemic has affected. Yes, because it was hard for our university to set up online program. They had to postpone our semester because they didn't figure everything out, even though they had 1 month before. But they had to postpone it as well. And it works better than I had expected, I have to tell. But to see those videos of you reminded me how backwards we are here in Germany sometimes. So I don't know if you get what I mean, but I had to laugh all the time because our university would never have made to do anything like that.
I will say that it's probably our videos might be like seemingly like sparkly because we highly have to recruit students because of the I guess we're not one of the most high ranked veterinary schools. We're probably in the middle, and we have to kind of ask for students to come to be in Iowa because it's probably like a less popular choice than going, say, to Cornell or to California or something. So we're investing in kind of promoting ourselves for that reason. And also a lot of the tools and things that are highlighted in that video, like we do use them, but they're mostly very new. Like only just in the last couple of years did we get those things. So I don't think we're too ahead of the curve there.
Yeah, to the question about what changed in the pandemic, I would say, as we discussed in a lot of meetings in ISA Germany, all the faculties actually changed into online classes. The practical classes are online too. So I'm a 5th year student and I am my clinical year now. I should be in clinic right now, but because of the pandemic, they decided to not do that, to not allow any students in the clinics, which means for me, I do have online classes, but no practical experience right now. That sucks a lot, but we do have in our clinical year, half a year is in the university clinics, and the other half a year is where we can go into any animal practice or into a zoo or something like that, anywhere where a vet works, basically. And that's the part where it gets exciting now for me because it's the only practicing part I get. But yeah, I mean, learning online works. I mean, how it works. It's okay. Like they managed it. They got a lot better, at least in Munich, and I think in Hanover as well. They got better, but it's not ideal, of course.
Yeah, I
you guys. Sorry, Kemal.
Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. But yeah, I would say that too, that online learning in Munich is at best, I can say it's okay. Right now it's okay, but before, when I was having a test, this genetic test, actually, there were no lectures. There were no lectures at all, and the upload of some documents for the test was very late. I mean, we had this learning documents for this genetic exam like 1 month completely. I mean, we had this complete set of documents just 1 month or maybe a little bit less than 1 month before the test itself. So none of us really had the ideal time to learn. But yeah, luckily we did good relatively, but yeah, it was a problem. And this exam admission system, man. And I hate this because we still have to send letters.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as Anna said, sometimes you think we're still in 1950. We still have to, we get letters with our exams written on it, which exams we do have. And we do have to sign it and send it back so they know we got it. I mean, there are probably people who haven't done that and they're still studying. So I think nothing happens if you don't do it. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Yeah, to the exams in general, we do have a lot of oral exams. So in Munich, for example, we basically mostly have oral exams. Only a few are multiple choice. They're changing that now because it's a lot easier to do multiple choice. But yeah, most of them are oral, to be honest. And that's why the times in which we do have exams are not really blocked that well because of the groups. They have to do a lot of groups, a lot of timing for the oral exams. So sometimes our semester times are different as well as the international ones. So for example, winter semester starts in October and ends in February. And we do have exams from February up to the end of March. And then the next semester starts in the mid of April. So we don't really have a lot of semester break because we do have our exams in that time. Yeah.
And yeah,
Oh,
the
sorry.
placing of the exam dates is very random actually. They can do it in the middle of a holiday, I mean, which is actually annoying.
I was going to say that we don't have oral exams to my knowledge. I don't know if anyone in the third year can speak otherwise, but I'm not aware of any that we have. And we have mostly multiple choice exams, also some, they call them short answer, but honestly, it's more of like a fill in the blank type of situation. And we have exams currently. I think this might be different, but we have in the VM2, the second year class, we have 2 exams per week, basically, which I think is too much. I'm a big advocate for like 1 exam at the very end, but no one will listen to me. So if anyone wants to lobby with me against that, I would be happy about it. But we've had exams every 2 weeks for almost a month, and we will continue to have that until finals usually, and then we'll have our large final exam at the very end in May. So a little bit different, I think.
Yeah, very different.
We actually also have, because we have this weird system, and we do have classes for maybe genetics in the second semester, for example. And then we do have the exam over a year later, which does not make sense. But because we do have this system that sometimes also we do have a class maybe over a year or 2 years, and then after these 2 years we have an exam over all the stuff we learned in these 2 years. So it's not like after each semester we do have an exam of the last semester. Sometimes we do have exams about like 2 years of stuff. So it's insane sometimes the amount of stuff we have to learn in like before one exam.
That sounds absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, it is. It is, like, especially the first 2 years, because that's the same as you, like the video said, where you learn the basics. You learn anatomy, histology, embryology, you know, all that kind of stuff. We have that in our first 2 years, biochemistry as well. And then after the 2 years, we have the huge exams, all bundled together of all the stuff we learned in the last 2 years. So if you made the first 2 years in German vet school, it gets easier. It gets a lot easier.
And yeah, you still have these small exams throughout the year. So you have the small exams and the big packaged exam at the end of the year. Especially in the third semester, this gets very challenging because these small exams actually come like 1 every week minimal. So it's like one and one another the next week and one another the next week. It's just really like getting punched continuously.
Yeah, I mean, these small exams are basically just really, really small oral tests. They do that in anatomy, in biochemistry, and they used to do it in physiology as well, but in our university they changed that. It really depends on your universities, but they try to keep you on track because you don't have exams after each semester. So they try to keep you on track with having these tests maybe 2 or 3 times a semester.
So are those tests graded each time you take one, or are you only to pass it and then you can move on? Okay, I think that's so much better of a setup than what we have going on. We have like, so usually our classes will be a certain amount of points, like maybe 400 or 500 points. And then we will have about 4 exams that are 100 points. And so we're constantly studying throughout the semester. And right now our semester's been shortened. And I don't think it's been as dramatic as last because we actually went back a week earlier than the rest of the colleges so that we could not have it so small. But because we are condensing material and then having 2 exams per week and then having to learn everything online, I think that students are really struggling to keep up with the material, especially the first years who aren't really used to how vet school works yet. So I think that's a great way to put it when you have the pass-fail exams versus like a high stakes exam every week.
Can I ask, so Kristen or Kiela wrote, we studied 4 years of college prior to vet school. What do you study in the college then before vet school? Just general stuff or?
Oh yeah, I can answer that question. So I think Kiala put in the chat, so you can do undergrad or bachelor's degree, and technically before applying to vet school, you can have it in whatever degree you want. So if you wanted to do art history or, engineering, or I don't know, honestly, you could pick whatever, but for applying to vet school, as long as you have the certain prerequisite classes, like you have to take organic chemistry, physics, biochemistry, regular chemistry, your general biology courses like micro, as long as you complete those on top of whatever else you're majoring in, that's fine. But I think a majority of us are usually some sort of science major, so chemistry, biology. I personally did animal science with a chemistry minor for mine, so it just kind of depends. But I know someone who went to vet, like a vet that I know, he was a art history major at Harvard for undergrad, and then he decided he wanted to go to vet school, so can do whatever. I hope that answers the question.
You guys mentioned that you have people that are 20 years of age and studying in your school, right? So how can they possibly, how long does your, for example, animal science degree last? Is it like 2 years or 3? Because normally you're 18 once you get out of school, right? And then, so you don't, it's out of question that you find an 18-year-old in your university, right?
Oh yeah, so I kind of Claire talked about it earlier. So you can technically, you don't have to have a bachelor's degree to come to vet school, which is a weird loophole that Clara has done, or that a lot of people can do, where as long as you have the certain, and Clara can clarify it for me, but as long as you have the certain prerequisites, you can still technically apply a year earlier. So instead of like, you would do like 3 years of an undergraduate degree and then apply to vet school, and then if you get in, I think you get a bachelor's degree with your DVM, I think, or do they just kind of give it to you? I don't know. So usually the youngest I think you would find in veterinary school would probably be like 20, would probably be the youngest you could be. But a lot of people will just go ahead and do the 4 years of undergrad and then start vet school. Or we have a lot of course, like non-traditional students, because technically I would be considered non-traditional because I'm 26. So I took 2 years off in between undergrad and vet school to just work and make sure I really wanted to commit another 4 years of learning. So I think Claire can kind of clear up the not necessarily having a bachelor's degree to start vet school.
I can actually answer that because I'm one of those students that did not have one. So I initially came into Iowa State University as a genetics student, and I applied my second year of school and switched my degree to a bachelor's degree. So you only have to complete the courses to apply to veterinary school that is required for each vet school. So that could be like a biochem, organic chemistry. They all have a list. There's certain requirements you must meet, and then you submit your application through VMCAS and do all of that other stuff. So I got in, and then let's see, I worked with the veterinary college to actually graduate with my bachelor's degree. That's part of the reason I changed it to just a biology degree. And so at the end of my first year, I graduated with my bachelor's degree. And that's kind of sort of how I managed to do that. Don't know if that makes much sense, but
I get to be even more non-traditional in that I still haven't had my bachelor's degree and I'm in my second year now. And you don't have to have it, but I think it might come up later in my life when I have the letters behind my name minus the bachelor's degree. It's very typical for students to have a bachelor's at some point. Mine, I haven't received it just because I didn't have enough credits yet to transfer into that degree as well. So it's outstanding until I take the time to fill out some paperwork for it. But I've been joking because I'm a concurrent master's student for public health. And if I graduate without my bachelor's, then I will be a doctor and have a master's, but never have gotten my bachelor's degree. And I think that might just have to be a party joke and something that I go ahead and do because it seems kind of like a hassle that I don't need to do for a reason specifically.
But I mean, because you.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying like one sentence because I think it's so funny because you pay so much money for your school and then you also have to study something else or do something else before you start studying vet school and pay even more.
Yep.
But
I think that's kind of the game. They know that they have to do that to you, so you don't really have an option. It's one of the reasons that I applied early was to save money. So I applied to try to kind of like have to pay for less years of school. So it's an option at Iowa State, but it's not very well accepted at other universities yet. So I think it's something that people are working on, but it's only at a couple of universities that you can apply early right now.
Yeah, the only thing I was gonna add on to that, Christian Kiala, I'm gonna be pretty much the same amount when I graduate too. Yeah, for me, I'm more of a traditional student where I did 4 years for undergrad to get the bachelor's. I did that just to more or less have a backup in case I didn't get into vet school. And I think that's why also a lot of students do come in with bachelor's, either because they just happen to finish the vet school curriculum at the same time they would be finishing their bachelor's. So they're like gonna get it anyway. Or I think also like some of them do like I did and basically have it as a backup in case you don't get in, just because it is very competitive. And so, you know, it's always good to have a safety net, I suppose, in that regard. But then kind of like you said as well, you end up with an extra, who knows how many tens of thousands of dollars in debts and, you know, have the rest of your life to have fun with that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in the comments about this question, can I transfer to Germany? So as an international student here, I just want to say that you have to do a Studienkolleg first. You know, it's actually the thing I did when I was planning to study in Germany. So this Studienkolleg, normally you take it for 1 year and there are many courses, but you have to take the M course, which is the course for all medicine majors. Normally you take it for 1 year. I took this Studienkolleg in my home country, Indonesia. Actually, it's the only Studienkolleg not in Germany. So I took it, successfully finished it in 1 year, and only after then I could start university. So it was a very hectic process. Really hectic.
Kamal, how fluent are you in German? Is it like second nature now, or are you?
It's kind of like English for me. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
it's second nature. I started learning German when I was in 9th class. That was 3 years ago.
We don't have, this might be well known, but in the US, we don't have as developed of foreign language programs as other countries do. So many of us, I would say probably most of us, don't speak a second language. I took 4 years of German when I was in high school, and I probably couldn't string together an entire sentence right now. So, but I think it is something that will like probably develop later, but right now it's probably our weak point.
But what a lot of international students actually have done, in at least in Munich, they actually came from a country and then they just spent 1 or 2 years doing a crash course, full intensive. Like they will learn German from zero to like a B2 level. I think that's what you would need, or B1. That's what
Yeah,
were
you
asking.
have to start at B2 in Munich.
Yeah, that's it. And so so they come, and I'm actually super surprised because I think German is a super difficult language, to be honest. And just people's, I mean, it's doable because if you see people coming from foreign countries and learning a language that has nothing to do with German, and the people from China, people from Cyprus, all over the world, and they learn it. And so in the end, it's something you can do, but of course it takes you 1 year or 2 years if you want to get into the university afterwards, because you need to show proof of being fluent in the language. But in the end, I think it's doable.
Yeah, but I think it's also pretty hard because we have a lot of oral exams, like we already said. And so many of the students like who don't speak German for like the first like mother tongue language, for them, I think it's really hard to do this oral exams, especially when you like, I mean, it's an exam, so you're not really calm and you don't really know the words, and then they ask you questions and sometimes you don't really know the answer. Like maybe you do know the answer but not in German, and I feel like for them it's pretty hard to pass the exams. So it's not only to know the language, but it's also to know the language under pressure, and I think that's pretty difficult. So yeah.
Yeah, that was what I experienced in my first semester actually. I had this anatomy oral exams, and even though with C1 German levels, I still couldn't really understand what the lecturer was saying. I mean, when he talked to me about asking about bones, I mean, I just muttered in my head and what? It's just like that, because this lecturer had a very thick Bavarian accent and it's already hard to understand. Very hard to understand.
I was just gonna say that the accent I think I would struggle with most is the Bavarian one, because I was in Munich like years ago for just a couple of days, and I remember we were passing through and suddenly I didn't understand anyone anymore, and I was confused. I was like, are we speaking a different language or is this still German? It seems like it's German, but I can't understand anything. So I definitely
I have to say that in Munich they don't really speak strong Bavarian. I come from a region from the north of Bavaria, and they speak even stronger Bavarian. So for us, Munich is like more German than the Bavaria that we speak. So yeah.
That sounds like bad news for me then.
Even some Germans can't understand the Bavarian. I'm from the north of Germany, like the very, very north. I'm from the East Coast. And I have a friend that lives near Munich, and I visited her, and sometimes her family had to translate for me, or they said something and I was sitting at the table and I was like, what are they talking about? Because I couldn't understand what they said.
Someone I think it was Brett, said in the chat that it might be difficult for you to understand our like country accent as well. I don't know if you could pick it up in any of the videos that we had, but we do have a couple of accents as well that might be kind of difficult to understand. I don't usually hear them as well because we're so used to it. So I'd be curious if you heard any accents that were different or if ours sound different.
I think as someone coming from like a different part of the US, the Midwestern accent is very like, to me, I think it's kind of funny. I just like the way you guys say bag all the time. But yeah, it's definitely like depending on what part of the US you're in, the accents change. And I know being from the South, we get a lot that people can't understand what we're saying. Either we're like speaking too slow or we're speaking like way too fast and with like a super thick accent. So yeah, that just varies like depending on like where you are in the US, like how, if you can understand anyone or not. So, but yeah, the Midwest accent, I think is kind of funny to me.
But yeah, what surprised me when I arrived first at Germany is that people really do speak fast here. I mean, when I first learned German and still until B2, it was very comfortable with hearing it. And now when I arrived, wow, it's just very, very confusing at first. Even uh, understanding people with not very thick accent was already very hard, but you get used to it.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
but yeah.
sorry. I was just trying to say that I also studied abroad for an Erasmus exchange, and I went to Slovenia for 1 year, and I also had to study in Slovenian, and I didn't know it before, and I kind of, yeah, I got used to it quite quickly because it just was all over, and the moment you just dive into the country and you just surround yourself with native people, and when they talk in their language, you just pick it up quite quickly. And I know that it's hard to study in a different language, but for me it was also really helpful that people, and that especially the professors, were very, very friendly and comforting me, and they were giving me the feeling that even if I don't express myself super clearly, it's okay, and I can always switch into English. And I hope that they do it in Munich as well for the foreigners. And I feel like in Germany and Hanover, our foreign students, they also get a like slightly friendlier treatment sometimes, just because of their difficulties with the language, which is fair, I think.
Yeah, my friends do it too, and I'm grateful for them doing it. Actually, it's really fantastic. You know, German is even not my third language. It's actually lower than third because my family back home is trilingual. We speak Indonesian, Japanese, my ethnic language, and Dutch. So yeah, my English was a little bit better, but it was really a struggle with German. But yeah, as I said before, I could speak Dutch. Not very good, but I could. So yeah, learning
How come you
German.
speak Dutch?
What?
How come that you speak Dutch? Why do you speak Dutch?
You know, my country is colonized by the Netherlands for a very long time. So many families still speak Dutch, including mine.
Oh, dat is heel goed. Ik praat ook een beetje Nederlands.
Yeah.
But just a little bit, tiny bit.
I met a couple of Dutch students when I studied abroad in Australia, and I met them on the beach actually, and they were speaking and like to each other, and I was like, that sounds like it's German, but it's not German quite. And they, after I told them that, they said, oh, we speak pretty German. And I've always had that stuck in my head that like that Dutch people think they speak pretty German.
Oh, to me it sounds like babies talking in German.
Yeah.
So I guess I have another question, and then I think that we're getting too close to our time actually, so I don't want to keep anyone late, but if students have an interest in coming and doing maybe like a clinical rotation in Germany, do you think that that's something that's easy to arrange, or do you have any contacts for people to arrange something like that?
I don't think it's easy because you would like our clinical rotation right now is most of the German universities, they have a specialized rotation. So you have to decide on a clinic to do your 12-week your rotation in. So you decide either you want to do like for me, I chose the exotic animal clinic. So I would have been there for 12 weeks. And yeah, so you don't really have huge rotation. I mean, that would be easy. You just apply for a placement basically in one clinic, a university clinic, and that's it. Yeah, that might be easier, but if you would like to do like a full rotation, be there for a year and do every clinic, you would have to organize that basically yourself, because there is no one person who connects all the university clinics with each other and can do that for you. So that might be hard. I think it's probably the same in all the universities in Germany, I think, but in Munich it's definitely like that. But in general, there are a lot of clinics and practices, mostly clinics, that take international students as like interns or placements and stuff like that. Of course, if you don't speak German at all, it might just be hard to get everything, because you imagine you go into a consultation with a client and it's patient and they talk in German, of course, and then the vet after has to explain to you what actually happened and what has been told. That might be difficult for you, but it's not impossible, because a lot of clinics do accept international vets as employees. So it's not impossible. They do that.
So I can say something to this. Actually, in my experience, like Laura said, it's quite difficult to do this whole rotation thing. But if you just write the departments from the clinics, or maybe also the labs where you're interested in, usually, so the professors I talk to, they're quite good in English. So you just can ask there if you can do an internship for a few weeks. And usually it's not a problem, I think, because I know I was doing already internships at the university, at the Vet University in Berlin, and they also had international students there. So if you're not in the direct contact with the clients, I mean, usually the vet is talking to them, so maybe you don't understand everything then, but when you're there at the surgeries and stuff like this, and there's a vet that is quite good in English, also working international, he also explained it in English to you. So usually I have really good experience with it. So you just can try and write them, and I think it's possible. So yeah.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for both of your.
I'm actually surprised that you asked this, because I don't know. I mean, none of you is in this. Well, some of you are in the senior year, but I don't know if you've experienced it before. Because our university used to have an agreement with your university, like just Munich, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know. I mean, we had an agreement where we were sending students to Iowa State University, and some of your students were coming to us. I don't know for how long this program was actually being implemented, but up until 2 years ago, it was still actually, well, in force, and now it's not. Now it doesn't exist anymore, and I don't know if you've gotten to know any people coming from Germany, or if you're still too young and I mean, too early in your studies to have met them, because it's as I said, I think, yeah, two years ago was actually complete, or 1 year ago, they actually stopped it. And the professor here in Munich said that it's due to the fact that there wasn't a lot of demand. But you guys are, I don't know if you guys are interested in coming to Germany and do your clinical rotations. If it's something you're into, then you might as well just try and lobby them and tell them, okay, we want this agreement back, because actually, I don't know. I actually went to the professor, and I was actually pretty close to organizing something at your university, because we had the choice between doing either an Erasmus or doing this exchange thing. And then he told me this is actually for the clinical rotations. And I was back then in my end of second year, right? And he said that they once sent one student that was actually not meant to do its clinical rotation. So I think he just slid in to your second year probably. And he said that the experience wasn't as good because it's a completely different system. And then, you don't have all the necessary, tools in your head in order to match with what you know. And it's a bit different, the way we teach things and the way you teach things. But for the clinical rotations, they actually had this agreement. And so if you guys are interested in that, I think you could probably ask one of your professors there, and they surely can tell you about how it was back then. But I guess from what I believe, more German people wanted to go to your university rather than the other way around. And if I had to give you an advice, I would tell you guys to probably not come to do your clinical rotations to Germany, because I think I've talked to a lot of I've met various international students that came to Germany, also to my university, from other countries across Europe, and they said that it's a big disappointment, and that you don't get to do a lot of practical things compared to other universities. For example, when I went to France, I was able to do a lot more than what people say you can do in Munich. And actually, one student from there went to Munich and said it's catastrophe. And so she came back 2 weeks later. And from what I saw in your video, I think it's actually probably better that you guys stick to your standards rather than like experiencing I mean, you probably get disappointed, but I think it's a nice experience if you want to see like the culture and the language. But I think German university, or at least Munich, might not be the best way to get your hands-on experience, I think.
That's really interesting to hear, because we recently had a change in our international programs director. We had an outgoing person, and now we have a new person. And I don't think that she is aware, honestly, of most of the programs that used to be in place, because the transition between their jobs just was not very solid. So we've been actually working recently to kind of expand our programming through exchanges like this, like getting to know students and seeing if it would be possible to arrange at least the possibility for that connection. Because like you said, it might not be like you might not have what you expect to receive at a clinical rotation, but there's also so much value to seeing a new culture and being immersed in that for a couple of weeks as well. And as a population that we're generally, students that are from Iowa are very landlocked. We don't have any coast, and we don't have a lot of international students generally. So it's always nice to expand people's understanding of culture. So I think that would be something interesting to at least look into. Would you happen to know the name of the professor who runs it? And I would get them in contact, and then if nothing works out, then that's fine too. But I think
I don't know the name of your professor, but I know the name of, he's an alumni from your university. So he did, I think he did his PhD at your university. That's why he's involved with your university, and he's like the mediator between like our university and your university. But I can try and ask him, and I can send you the name of the professor if you want, and then you can knock at his office and then tell him, hey, I want to go to Germany, or you know.
That would be very cool. I think I've heard some interest actually as the old IVSA rep. I've had a couple students reach out to me specifically about coming to Germany. So even if it wasn't for a clinical rotation, having a contact would be really nice as well. So that would be really great.
Yeah, because I was actually disappointed when he told me that they actually didn't, that it doesn't exist anymore. And he told me that it's because there wasn't enough demand for it. And he told me, I'll put it in I'll be careful. He told me that your university wasn't actually very keen on prolonging the contract that they had. And he said that he was super motivated to do it, but he said that there wasn't like the willingness from Iowa to continue this program. So I don't know.
We have had some issue. I know that students have felt like professors don't encourage international travel because it's paperwork, and so they have to have a professor who sponsors their trip.
Right.
And that requires paperwork on the behalf of the professor. So I think that alone has pushed professors to advise against it, and then students feel like, oh, this isn't an option for me, so I might as well just find a rotation in the US that is interesting as well. But I don't like that, so I've been kind of trying to push harder for this program to be more developed. And the new international programs director is very gung-ho. I don't know if that is I don't know if you know what that means, but like very excited to be developing the program. So I think that would be a great, at least like stepping stone to recreating that program and getting it started again.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, because now they have it like with, I think one university in Japan or something. I mean, it's very random universities, but it's mostly because some professors used to have a special connection with this university, and now they know people there, and they actually like, you know, connect with each other. I don't know how it is in other German universities, but at least that's what they call the LMU exchange program, which is LMU, our university, and with other partner universities. So yeah. But for example, if we want to go to your university right now without any agreement, would that be an option? Are they keen on taking students from abroad?
It's my impression that because we have the new program director, that she's very interested in pursuing those types of exchanges. It would probably have to be, I don't know if it would have to be, but it would be encouraged to have one student come here and then we send a student as well. But I don't know if that's necessarily required. But I will put my email and our program director email in the chat. And then if you want to email us, then we can talk about like the details of it. Usually she comes to our calls actually, but it's the weekend, so she decided to have a day off. But if that works for you, then we can talk more about it with her since she has.
All right, cool.
I think in general, without a program, I wrote it already in the chat, but without a program for German students, it's pretty hard to study abroad for a semester or even 2, because we have another system. It's really hard to have our assignments transferred in our system. So some say, no, you haven't done that subject in that class, so we don't transfer you that subject. So you have to do that class again, but it's only once a year, so you have to repeat a whole year. That's why, because without a program, a lot of people would have to repeat a year. And that is usually what makes people not choose that, you know. And because now without a program, we would have to organize everything ourselves, and then as well with transferring everything, that's why most people just stick to the Erasmus program, which is only in Europe. Yeah, I mean, I did it as well in Spain, and that was easy because it was mostly everything done for you. But yeah, other than in Europe would be hard. But I mean, with the program, that would be absolutely amazing.
I think that the opportunity to maybe do like a year or a semester is probably less of something that's feasible due to the fact, like you said, that our curriculums don't exactly line up. And that's been a common theme when I try to push for exchanges to occur. That seems to be what kind of prevents that from happening. But when it comes to rotations or doing like a clinical internship, I think that that's much more feasible. And I think that it would be extremely easy to set up, honestly, other than the logistics of passport and COVID and everything.
Yeah, because initially, like this program I was talking to you about was actually meant specifically for the clinical rotations. And I was like a little guy wanting to try and see how the American system was. And he said, he told me, it's like as if you were a fish going upstream and you don't know what is going to happen to you, because like everything is set in the US. People start, if you're not from the first year there and you're trying to jump into your lessons, you're going to be completely lost because the structure is completely different. And that's why initially that's why they planned the program for this, for the clinical rotations. He told me that he once sent one student who actually had the same request that I had, and he told me that she came back. Well, as Laura said, nothing was actually like recognized. Like she had to pass all the exams again in Germany, and she lost like 1 year, which was my main motivation for not doing it in the end. But because he told me it was actually for fourth and fifth year students here to do the rotations and having people come over. So it's a bit different than the Erasmus program that Laura was talking about. Yeah.